If anyone finds out, everything ends tonight.
I crossed every rule for you. I just didn't know justice was watching.
One secret. One message. One truth that refused to stay buried.
If this comes out, who will pay the price? You or me?
Love crossed the rules at midnight, and justice was already on its way.
Stay with me, because when the truth is exposed, love doesn't survive, only consequences do.
I never believed love could feel dangerous. I always thought danger was loud, obvious. But real danger is quiet. It whispers. It waits until midnight. That night started like any other. The city was asleep. The streetlights flickered like tired eyes. And I stood by my window, holding my phone, reading the same message again and again. Are you sure about this? That was her message. I should have said no. I should have ended it right there. But instead, I typed the words that changed everything. Yes. Come. Her name was Sarah. And no, she wasn't a stranger. That was the problem. She was someone I should never have loved. Someone the rules were clear about. Someone everyone trusted me not to touch. I was already breaking rules before she even arrived. When she knocked, it wasn't loud. Just two soft taps. Like she was afraid the walls might hear. I opened the door. She stood there, her hair damp from the cold night air, eyes filled with fear and something else. Hope. I shouldn't be here, she said. I know, I replied. And still, I stepped aside. That was the moment. That was when love crossed the line. We sat far apart at first. Like distance could protect us. Like space could save us from what we already felt. I keep thinking about consequences, she whispered. I laughed quietly. Not because it was funny, but because it was already too late. We've thought about them for months, I said. And yet here we are. She looked at me then. Not like a woman chasing love, but like someone carrying guilt. You know this could ruin lives, she said. Yes, I answered. And I hate myself for still wanting you. Silence filled the room. Heavy. Honest. Our story didn't begin with passion. It began with weakness. People think forbidden love is exciting, romantic, but the truth is it's exhausting. Every smile feels stolen. Every touch feels like a crime. When she reached for my hand, I didn't pull away. That touch felt warm, familiar, and terrifying. Midnight, she said softly, glancing at the clock. It always happens at midnight. I didn't understand then, but I would. We talked for hours about how this started, about the first look that lasted too long, the first conversation that crossed a boundary. We didn't plan to fall in love. Nobody ever does. Love slipped in slowly, through shared silence, through late-night messages, through moments where the world faded. But the rules were always there, watching, waiting. When she finally stood up to leave, my chest tightened. I don't know how to stop this, she said. I walked her to the door. My hand rested on the handle. The final chance to end everything. Then don't, I whispered. That was my mistake. As the door closed behind her, I felt it. The weight, the fear. And somewhere deep inside, a quiet voice said, "Justice doesn't forget." But I ignored it. After that night, everything changed. And nothing changed at all. On the surface, life went on. Same faces. Same routines. Same smiles. But underneath, the secret grew. Sarah and I stopped meeting. At least physically. But emotionally, we were closer than ever. Messages replaced moments. Voice notes replaced touch. Late-night calls replaced sleep. We became experts at hiding. She would send a message at 2 a.m. "Are you awake?" And I always was. We talked about normal things. Work. Stress. Small jokes. But underneath every word was tension. One night she said, "Do you ever feel like someone knows?" I paused before answering. Because yes, I did. There were looks, questions that lingered too long, silences that felt heavy. Secrets change how you walk,
How you speak.
how you breathe. I became careful. Too careful. I started avoiding people, avoiding places, avoiding mirrors. Because every time I looked at myself, I saw a man lying to everyone, including himself. Sarah struggled more than I did. She carried guilt like a shadow. I feel like I'm betraying everything I believed in, she said one night, her voice shaking. I wanted to comfort her, but comfort felt dishonest.
You're not alone, I said.
But the words felt weak. The truth was we were both trapped. By love. By fear. By our own choices. One evening, she sent a message that froze me. Someone asked about us. My heart dropped. Who? I typed. She took a long time to reply. Someone close. That was when sleep left me completely. I replayed every moment, every look, every word. Had we been careless? Had love made us blind? The rules weren't written on paper. They lived in expectations.
Trust.
Boundaries. And we had crossed them all. I suggested ending it. Again. We should stop, I said during a call. This is getting dangerous. She cried quietly. You said that before, she replied. But you didn't mean it. She was right. I wanted safety, but I wanted her more. That night, I dreamed of doors closing, of footsteps behind me, of a knock at midnight. When I woke up, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Truth has a way of finding daylight. I stared at the screen.
Cold. Still.
Justice had started moving. Secrets don't explode. They leak. That's what people don't understand. The truth doesn't arrive with shouting or chaos. It slips out slowly, quietly, until it's impossible to stop. I felt it before it happened. That heavy feeling in the chest. That sense that something was moving behind my back. People stopped talking when I entered rooms. Conversations paused. Eyes avoided mine. Sarah felt it too. She sent fewer messages. Her replies became short. Careful. One night she said, someone asked me if we were close. I stared at my phone for a long time. I didn't reply immediately. Who? I finally typed. She answered after several minutes. Someone who shouldn't be asking. That was the moment I knew. We weren't invisible anymore. From that day, everything felt watched. Every word felt recorded. Every step felt measured. I replayed every interaction in my mind. Did I stand too close? Did I smile too much? Did someone see us leaving the same place once? You don't realize how loud silence becomes when you're hiding. Then came the email. Formal.
Short.
Polite. We need to speak with you. No explanation. No details. My hands shook as I read it. Not because I didn't know why, but because I knew exactly why. The room where they questioned me was calm.
Too calm.
They didn't accuse me. They asked questions. How long have you known her? How often do you communicate? Would you describe your relationship as professional? I answered slowly.
Carefully.
But truth has weight, and lies get tired. Then they place things on the table. Not dramatically, just one by one.
Dates. Times.
Patterns. Nothing romantic. Nothing emotional. Just facts. That's what hurt the most. Our love reduced to evidence. I felt exposed. Not naked, but transparent. When they asked, is there anything else we should know? I realized the secret was already done speaking. I told the truth. Not to save myself, but because there was nothing left to protect. Sarah was called in separately.
I didn't see her that day.
But I imagine her sitting there, trying to stay strong. That night, my phone rang. It was her. She didn't cry. That scared me more. It's out, she said quietly. I know, I replied. Silence filled the call.
We didn't plan this, she said.
I swear we didn't. I know, I said again. The exposure didn't feel like punishment. It felt like being seen for the first time. And I wasn't proud of what they saw. Justice didn't arrive with anger. It arrived with decisions. Meetings were held. Conversations happened behind closed doors. No one raised their voice. No one insulted us. That was worse. Disappointment hurts more than rage. I wasn't treated like a villain. I was treated like someone who had broken trust. And trust, once cracked, never sounds the same again. I lost responsibilities first, then roles, then opportunities. Not overnight. Gradually. Each change felt small on its own. Together, they reshaped my life. People were polite, but distant. Some avoided me completely. Others looked at me like a lesson. Sarah faced harsher consequences. Not because she deserved them more, but because the world is rarely equal. She became quiet, withdrawn. One day she told me, "I feel like I don't recognize myself anymore." I didn't know how to answer. Justice wasn't about destroying us. It was about restoring balance. And balance doesn't care about love. Months passed. The messages between us stopped. Not because we hated each other, but because continuing felt unfair. To others, and to ourselves. One afternoon, by accident, we ran into each other. Public place. Daylight. We stood there awkwardly, like strangers who shared too much history. "You look different," she said. "So do you," I replied. We sat, talked carefully. No touching. No secrets. "Do you ever think about that night?" she asked. "All the time," I said. "Do you miss it?" she asked. I paused. "I miss who I thought I was," I said, before I crossed the line. She nodded slowly. Justice didn't take revenge. It taught. I'm not telling this story from a place of pain anymore. I'm telling it from a place of clarity. Time has a strange way of softening sharp edges. Not by erasing what happened, but by teaching you how to carry it without bleeding. For a long time after everything ended, I replayed that midnight in my head. Not the kiss. Not the words. But the moment I chose to open the door. Because that's where it really began. Not with love, but with a decision. People ask me now, "Do you regret it?" And the honest answer is complicated. I don't regret the feelings. They were real. They didn't come from boredom or curiosity. They came from connection. But I regret believing that real feelings were enough to justify my choices. That was the lie I told myself. Love feels powerful when it's hidden. It feels special because it's secret. But secrecy doesn't make something pure. It just delays the truth. What midnight gave us was courage. But it was borrowed courage. The kind that disappears when the sun comes up. What midnight took from me was trust. Not just from others, but from myself. After everything came out, I didn't recognize the person in the mirror. Not because I had become cruel, but because I had become careless. Careless with promises. Careless with responsibility. Careless with the impact of my actions. And that realization hurt more than any punishment. Sarah and I never had a dramatic ending. No final argument. No emotional goodbye. We just stopped. The messages slowed. The calls ended. And one day, there was nothing left to continue. At first, that silence felt cruel. Then it felt necessary. Some connections don't need closure. They need distance. The hardest part wasn't losing her. It was accepting that love alone doesn't make something right. I used to think rules were there to control people. Now I understand something different. Rules exist to protect the parts of us we don't see when we're emotional. They protect families, reputations, lives we don't think about when we're chasing our own happiness. Justice didn't humiliate me. It didn't shout my mistake to the world. It simply stopped me. And sometimes being stopped is the only way to be saved. I still think about Sarah sometimes. Not with longing, but with respect. We were two people who felt deeply. And chose poorly. That doesn't make us monsters. It makes us human. But being human doesn't remove consequences. If you're listening to this story late at night, with your phone in your hand, heart beating faster than it should. If someone feels like they understand you a little too well, if a door feels tempting to open, pause. Ask yourself this. Are you prepared to live with what follows when the secret becomes a memory? Because love that crosses the rules always asks for payment. Sometimes it takes your peace. Sometimes your future. Sometimes your sense of who you are. Midnight doesn't warn you. It invites you. And justice doesn't rush. It waits quietly, patient, certain, until you're ready to face it.